Hi, and welcome to this special broadcast from Travel Counsellors. My name is Wasim Hack, I'm one of the directors at Travel Counsellors, and we really want to give you an update on where we are now in the support that we're giving to people at Thomas Cook and the experience that they've been through over the last 2 to 3 weeks, which has been really up and down. And we've spoken to a lot of people from Thomas Cook to try and give them support through our care events and try and really help them in the next decision in their career, whatever that happens to be. And I know there's a lot of options out there for those individuals. But I'm not here on my own. I want to introduce some of the people and some of the people that you may now recognise as well. We're joined on the couch by Jayne Marlor and Darren, who are ex-regional managers for Thomas Cook, and now with us as travel counsellors and working at Travel Counsellors. So we'll talk a little bit about your roles in a second. We've got Hannah from our recruitment team and Janet, who is our cruise queen, I'm going to call you, but we'll talk about why you're on the couch in a little bit. So welcome everyone.
Thank you.
So yeah, Darren and Jayne have joined us, and just want, you've had a tough and turbulent 3 weeks really. Do you want to talk a little bit about just how it affected you, and then maybe just to highlight a little bit about why you're here and what's made you come into Travel Counsellors and what got you into Travel Counsellors?
Yeah, I think for me, so 23rd of September, a bit of a dark day in my career. So 26 years with Cooks, and the wife was working for them as well. So for me, I think I love travel, absolutely everything about it. It's all I've ever known, and I wanted to stay in the travel industry. I think personally, Travel Counsellors for me wasn't something I'd ever looked at. Didn't really have a lot of thoughts around the processes of home working, didn't really understand it fully. But I just wanted to have an option to look at other opportunities that are maybe out there. I had a couple of calls with different people, and I think there was somebody that reached out to me that was working for Travel Counsellors. And some really interesting things that he was talking about that just made me prick my ears up and think, actually, there may be something in this. So that's probably where I started to change my mind on having a little journey up the M6 to have a chat and see what it's all about.
You're based in the Midlands, and it was a Midlands.
I am, yeah. So I was running Birmingham and Bristol region, so pretty much looking after every store from Stourbridge, which is North Birmingham, all the way down to Bristol. 24 stores, 140, 150 staff. And you know what? It's been difficult, really, really good people. And it was a family, your Thomas Cook family, we all call it that. And you do miss the people, you do miss the teams, definitely.
And I think as businesses, Thomas Cook and Travel Counsellors, the values of the businesses were quite similar in the fact that everyone wanted to look after their customers. And I really felt that when we had a number of people drop in and they talked about looking after their customers. And even if it was happened, their biggest concern was what happened to their customers. And Jayne, some of your teams actually dropped in because you're in the Northwest region. So some of your local people dropped in and you did as well. So what was your first experience of Travel Counsellors?
So, well, I've watched Travel Counsellors for many years because I'm a local girl. I was born and bred in Bolton, live in Bury now. So obviously, having worked in Bolton as a store manager many, many years ago, I was very aware of David Speakman, Travel Counsellors, so I've watched with interest over the years. But, like Darren said, that dreaded day came on the 23rd of September, and I think it's fair to say, it ripped all of our hearts out big time, me included, everybody, all of my team, and I think we all did all-nighters that night, and kept each other going. And there's such a family in Thomas Cook. People have been very, very loyal to Thomas Cook over the years, and it's heartbreaking what's happened. And certainly, I was in the same position as everybody else, but I think my experience from a Travel Counsellor's perspective was on the Tuesday. I got a call from somebody that works here that I've known a long time, and I guess for me, from the heart, genuinely, I think when you've been with a company, because I was with the company 35 years, and I absolutely loved my team, my people, I loved the brand, but you kind of think, oh my God, never ever thought this had happened to me, and who's going to want me now? I'm in my 50s, who's going to want me now? And so to get that call for me on the Tuesday gave me the biggest lease of life. And it was only a call, there was no promise at the end of it, but the boost in my own self-confidence on that day was immense.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I came across and had a chat, which obviously you was there.
Yeah.
And I think the feeling that I've got from the minute I've walked through this door, whilst we had an amazing family, and you said the culture is very much the same in Thomas Cook, but I think there's a lot of people I've known over the years that I've either worked with and alongside, or have worked in my region and have come across to travel counsellors, and we've stayed in touch, and they've always raved about how amazing it is, and they've never looked back. But having got through the door now and having been offered an opportunity, which I'm so humbled and grateful for, I just honestly can see why, because me and Darren kind of just keep looking at each other and smiling and going, oh my God, oh my God, because it is just incredible, and it's real, and it's honest, and it's, I know you used that word honest, didn't you? But it really is. It's just the welcome that we have had. There's just no words. It's been overwhelming, but in a great way.
One of the things that I'd say to you as well is something we had at Cook's was customer at our heart, and every single person that worked there, that was one of their. It's all about the customer and about the people. And I think coming here, you haven't got that as a mantra or whatever you want to call it, but you have without even realising it, because everything I see is about the customer.
Yeah.
And then again, when you talk to people that come in, and I was in reception on my first day, and I spot two people that I knew. And their faces when they saw someone they knew, and their eyes lit up, and they were like, "What are you doing here?" And for me, it was really nice. I've got that spine tingle down my throat now. So I just think it's a really nice thing that people have got an opportunity to do something for themselves, and not just be sitting there waiting to see what the next move is. Yeah. So it's really good. It feels good.
I think there's a couple of things that's important, customer at heart, but I think it's the culture, and the care, and those three things for me really shine out. And we've only been here, Darren, 4 days, me my fifth day, but those things are just really strong.
I think it's interesting because I met you both as you came into the building to meet us and just have a chat with us, and I had a bit of time with both of you, and your WhatsApps were going, your phones were going, and you were still supporting your staff and speaking to your employees and helping them make the decision that's right for them. And even now, and I think it's worth people understanding that the reason Darren and Jayne have come on board with us is that we don't know as many Thomas Cook people as you do. And I think you're able to reach out to them, to support them, to talk to them about the options. Travel counsellors is definitely one of those options. It may not be the right option, but I think when we meet people like Darren and Jayne and recognise that their values are the same as ours, and they're actually just trying to help all the people that they know make the right decision, whatever the decision is for them. It was a perfect choice to have you two come on board and help us in those connections and speaking to people. So
thank you, and it's an honour to be able to come. Like Darren, our teams meant the world to us, and I genuinely mean that, and they still do now. And this is not just about travel counsellors. We want to continue to support our people and be there for them because we've been on that same journey as them. But obviously, there is an opportunity for them to speak to us about what's travel counsellors all about, what's life like at travel counsellors, what does home working mean, and maybe myth busting as well.
What did you feel that? Because you've said this a few times through this week in your first week. Home working, this is not what you expected.
I think home working, I think most people think that it's for working mums, that's convenient for them so that they can drop the kiddies off at school and then come back on, log on for a few hours, then go and pick them up. And I think there is a real misconception of home working, and that's completely changed for me this week. So I think this is an amazing opportunity for anybody that really wants to think about what their options are right now. And we've all got an opportunity to do that now, is to sit and think, right, which road do I want to take? And I would recommend anybody that's sat there right now that have got various options or roads that they can take is to really sit back and make the right decision by you rather than being pressured into something or rushing into something. We're all in this same boat, and I know from a Thomas Cook perspective, we're all great people with good values, good hearts, and that want to work for someone that values and cares for us, but also want to work really hard and give it our all. But certainly, I think home workers think they're just on their own. So many conversations we've had, haven't we, where they just think they're on their own, and yet, oh my goodness, you come here and the support is just brilliant. Incredible, isn't it, Darren?
I mean, I'm not even convinced I'd call it home working.
No,
I'm totally honest with you.
I wouldn't.
So far, the people that I've met and had chats to, and I've had some conversations with various people in the business, and I'm yet to meet anyone that sits in their home working all day. So, for me, it's more of a flexible thing. So I was talking to a lady the other day, Sarah, and she does a lot of her business out of Costa. And I'm like, she's got her loyalty card and she's loving life. But I just think for me, it just fits into everything it fits perfect for Thomas Cook. So anyone that worked at Cook's, what the things that you're really, really passionate about, and as much as we were paid from 9 till 5:30, we weren't. Those people who were sitting there at night, sitting on the WhatsApps, texting customers, all sorts. And I think those are the people that really have still got a choice. They've got a choice of what they do. I mean, one of the things that really stands out for me was, and I think one of the things that really attracted me to you guys was, I am really passionate about my people. You know, my little team was my team. It wasn't Thomas Cook's, it was mine. And I think when I think back to some of those now, I just don't want them to rush into a decision and end up being devalued for probably what they're worth more. Yeah. They're worth more than what we paid. They know so much. They're so passionate. They put the customer at the heart. And, you know, genuinely, what they've got in their toolkit, they could bring here and they could just have a life-changing experience. I keep seeing it. I keep talking to people that say, you know, never look back. I hear it every single day. Everyone I talk to. You know, and I've reached out to people that I haven't spoken to for years because I didn't even know that they were actually doing it. Right. And, you know, they're like, I told you years ago you should come to something like this. And I was like, I didn't know you were still here. Yeah. And they're sat there doing really well out of life, happy, smiling, and probably having a much better life than we were at 9 to 5 on the high street. Yeah, and I think it's worth remembering that there's a lot of people out there that have been seriously affected by the situation and may have to make decisions very quickly from a security point of view, from their life point of view. That's absolutely fine. And I think, you know, the point that Darren's making it is that's fine. Have a think about the next 10 years of career, the next 20 years of career, and where is it right to think about other options and at least understand what options are out there. I think it's also true to say that you know, Travel Councils disrupted the market 25 years ago. It still tries to do that. So yeah, home working isn't actually a word that we use much. We do have people who work from home and work flexibly and pick up the kids and everything else that's great about it. We also have people who work from shared offices, work in teams, work with buddies, have staff. It's a very different operating model to how it used to be. And you probably only see that when you actually come into the business and really experience it and speak to some travel counsellors who are operating that way. So definitely worth looking at that. I want to move on to speak to Janet. And Janet has been with Travel Counsellors for 9 years. She is our cruise queen. She knows cruise inside out, and everyone goes to speak to cruise. But I've actually got her on the couch for 2 other reasons. One is that she went through something similar to this before she joined Travel Counsellors, so I want to ask you a little bit about that. And the second one is she's actually been helping us out in some of the conversations with Thomas Cook, so I also want to ask her a little bit about that. So, Janet, welcome.
Oh, thank you. Yes, Cruise Queen not this week. It's been Care Queen, I think it's been. And you know what? It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been wonderful to speak to so many of the Thomas Cook staff and to be working with our recruitment team. So for me, cruise hat off and all hands on deck. Pardon the cruise pun there, but I just had to get one in. Because that's what we do best at Travel Counsellors. Our care value is huge, and you know I recognised that 9 years ago, and I'll come on to sort of how I joined. But for me, working with the recruitment team and working with the care events and working with the Thomas Cook people has been an eye opener because it took me back to 9 years ago. That's really what has resonated in me in the last few weeks, and just really having the chance to put our arms around people, give people time to think, because nobody wants to be rushed into a decision, because at the rest of the day, it's the rest of your life. And the worst thing you want to do is to step into the same shoes or to step into the same situation. And you just want to be able to put your arms around people. So where there are people, and we know that isn't everybody at Thomas Cook, because there are some people who've got to get straight back into work, and we understand that what they've been offered is an opportunity for them. We're not knocking any of that. We're just saying, if you can stop, if you can just think and listen to what people can help you with. So having Jayne and Darren here is perfect, because they're people that you trust, they trust you. So that's a great opportunity and another little sort of armoury we've got to help. But for me, being able to talk about 35 years in the industry that I love, and recognising that when we were in the room with the care event, there were people in that room with 20 plus years experience. And as somebody in their 50s too, and I don't know, me and Jayne are flying the flag for the older girl here. You know what? They sometimes, the older you get, the more confidence you get knocked, and it's harder sometimes to pick yourself back up. And 9 years ago, that's exactly where I was. And to work for an independent business for 26 years, and then the business suddenly to be taken over, I had to suddenly stop and be a little bit selfish. I cared about my customers, I cared about my team massively, but all of a sudden I had to stop and think about me, and I had suddenly to sort of put everything aside and think, I need to stop and think about me and take my future forward, because the value that was being offered wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't what I wanted to do. I felt I needed a different ethos, and I needed to find myself again. And that's when, and we talk about walking through the doors at travel counsellors, and we know that there's sometimes we think there's some happy gas that's sort of pumped out of the air conditioning, that we're all sort of like this. It's just so true. I found a company that had all the same ethoses that I'd grown up to. You know, I'd been mentored, I'd been nurtured, I'd nurtured other people, but what I could find at least then was some happiness for me, but then I could then maybe sort of tell other people about it and nurture. So by able to speak to the Thomas Cook people in the last few weeks and just say to them, this is an option for you. This is everything about what everything about travel counsellors have got to offer. Just take your time, value yourself, look at everything you've ever done in life, because being a travel counsellor is hard work, It's going to be hard work. You'll never worked as hard in your life. You'll commit to everything because you'll throw everything you've got at it. So from the professional people that you are, with all that customer care, all that experience, all that knowledge, as a duty of care to the travel industry, we don't want to lose that. So that's been my heart on my sleeve to most people in the last few weeks, is that we don't want to lose these great people from the industry, but we want to make sure that they're being helped to make the right decisions for them. And for me, honestly, the people we've met have been amazing. They have got the same sort of ethos as we've got, and that is fantastic. And it just shows that as a travel, we all come together as a community, and that was lovely to see as well from a travel industry perspective. To see so much help from the travel industry coming at everybody, again, that was fantastic.
I think that's great. And the thing is, it's true to say that within travel counsellors, we ran the care events. It wasn't easy for us to put all that together. We had to draft in other people. We normally have a recruitment team, we'll come to Hannah in a second, who help with new franchises, but the volume, no one expected that to happen. So many people affected by it, that to help out, we pull people in from all over our business, and those people are still involved. So Janet was one of the individuals who came on board.
There were many of us, How
many were in the team at one point?
I think we ended up with probably about 30 of us in the team, that we, from every different department, we just literally, it was almost like we have crisis teams when things happen from a crisis point of view. So from one minute we'd had our crisis heads on because we were obviously helping with everything that had happened with Thomas Cook, and we're making sure we're looking after our customers and getting our customers home, etc. And then the next minute we were being flung into the whole recruitment side of it from the care events. But that's sort of really the versatility that we've got. That's the sort of people that we are, and that's the sort of people that the travel counsellors are. So we actually reached out, not just from our point of view, we reached out to the travel counsellors. Each and every travel counsellor has helped us speak to Thomas Cook people and say, listen, I can show you what it's like. Come along to my home. They've just been unbelievable. So
A lot of people, they just wanted an ear to kind of listen.
Absolutely,
to. It was just someone to be at the end of the phone, really.
We went from crisis to care.
Crisis to care, and now we're...
and we saw in you, Janet, and the rest of the team here, and then we bring in Darren and Jayne, and we had all the people who have those caring conversations, the first initial chat, speak the Thomas Cook language with Darren and Jayne, understand what you were going through from a personal point of view, and then have someone there to speak the travel counsellor's language, understood that. But it may well be that you're in a point in that decision-making process, it gets to a little bit more, actually, I really want to find out some details, some more information, and that's when, from a process point of view, we go into our main recruiters who do this day in, day out, and just talk to anyone in the industry or through our academy who are thinking about travel counsellors as an option. And I'm going to hand to Hannah now, who does that on a day-to-day basis. And Hannah, what is it you do on a day-to-day basis? How do you speak to people?
Good question. Very good question. Do you know what? I think the word recruitment kind of scares people a little bit, because I think people just automatically assume that we're going to sit there and we're going to sell you this amazing dream that's then never going to happen. And that's not the case. It's not how we work. For me, my job and what I do on a day-to-day basis is just talk to people, be that kind of ear to listen to, understand you guys and what you need. Do you know what? Travel counsellors isn't for everyone, and we're very open and honest about that. We want to understand kind of whether it is the right option for you, and that's kind of a journey that takes, days, weeks, even months. There's some people that I've kind of spoken to who did work at Thomas Cook, and they were there for years and years, and have still spoken to me for the last couple of years on and off, because it's something that's sparked a little bit of interest. So for me, my job really is just about talking about who we are, talking about what we do, and really starting to explore whether this is an option that really is for you. Then in terms of, I guess, our process, obviously, the big thing for us is that you understand what we are and what we do. So we invite every single person to come along and meet us and walk into that office and have that, that wow moment and, breathe in the happy gas that we all have here. But come and see us. We'll show you what we're about. We'll show you our systems and, you can have a wander around, speak to all of the people that you need to kind of understand whether it is going to be for you. And like I say, we don't take everyone on. Travel counsellors, it is a big commitment. It is something that, isn't right for everyone. But through kind of us chatting together, us understanding, about your network and about how you could potentially build a business, we work out a plan that's right for you and how, this would work for you. So that's my job. It's difficult, the word recruitment, because ultimately, we do bring you on board and we support you with the onboarding of becoming a travel counsellor, but there's an awful lot more to it than just as kind of being at the end of the phone and saying how great it is, as much as that's a very big part of my job as well, because it is pretty great.
Yeah. And I think it's a good point is that we don't just try and get people over the line really quickly. We had a lady I was speaking to from Thomas Cook, and we've had some people qualify and go through training this week, and she's actually been speaking to us for 17 years. Since 2002 she first spoke to travel counsellors, and now only because of this situation has she come on board and saying I'm absolutely loving it. So I suspect she'll be somebody who says I should have done it sooner, but we'll see that soon. So we're quite happy to speak to people, let you make that decision over whatever length of time you need to consider that, and that's a big part of how our recruitment team operate, is just to help you through the decision making process, give you all the pros and cons. It is difficult, it is running a business, you are a business owner, but there's some fantastic rewards if you get there. And I'm coming back to Darren and Jayne, because actually we are at the moment speaking with them and they're helping us in speaking to people at Thomas Cook. But that isn't the only part of their role, and as we bring people on from Thomas Cook, and we have got people joining us already, their role will ensure that we can liaise with those new starters, people who will be speaking the Thomas Cook language, and we get Darren and Jayne to be able to have the travel counsellors language and give you support through that. So we haven't really done much on that yet, but I think you're looking forward to that next phase of your roles as that evolves.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, we've just we're on our discovery day today. Yeah. Which we both just keep, again, looking at each other and going, wow, it's amazing, the technology, wow.
I think the first time I've ever in my life sat through an IT or a tech presentation and gone, wow.
And it's not been boring.
So, no offence to anyone I've ever worked with in the past.
No, it's just IT normally is just IT, but this is just proper impressive.
Yeah. But I think the thing that really shone out for me was the fact that you guys actually went out and did that and recruited people from Thomas Cook to say, right, we want to, when we get people onboarded or people want to come to us, we want to make sure they're the right people and we're talking to them the way they need to be spoke to. And I think, to offer support like that is massive. And coming back to something you said a minute ago where, we don't just go after people and try and get them over the line. We absolutely don't. My wife was put out of work the same day I was, and we know that's not the right thing for her to join travel counsellors. So, that's my own wife, so if I can say that. Yeah. And, I was sat in a meeting the other day where we had someone who was literally, I'm going to do it. And I remember the person that was actually talking to the recruitment said, just hold fire, just make sure it's all for you. And I think that's just a real piece of integrity, honesty. Yeah. And I think I used honesty the other day upstairs, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
But it does feel really, really good. Really good, yeah.
I think the thing that perhaps blows me away a little bit is, I know you've mentioned it and I know Hannah has, but, the very fact that we can actually be at the other end of the phone, but then also extend that to, why don't you just come in? Somebody will sit and talk to you. And, I was in a conversation the other day and it took like 2.5 hours. But, you guys have got the time to, and the care to sit and just talk to someone, show them around the building. And that might not be right for them still, but at least they're able to get all the facts and to know everything there is to know to make the best informed decision for them. And it might not be right, but there is no pressure and no hidden agenda. And I think that for me is what's just so lovely about the support that's being offered.
That's fantastic. Jayne has just summarised for me without me having to close. But I'll do it anyway. I think, we're really keen to speak to people. You're going through a tough time, but we can certainly support, whether that's through the people we've drafted in who know the travel industry inside out, like Janet, and can just talk to you about what you're going through and what the options are. Whether you want to talk about the Thomas Cook language, and you've got Darren and Jayne, you can reach out to, you may have connections with them, or if you want to talk to one of our recruiters, and we can manage all of that if you do want to speak to us and contact us. I'll let Hannah actually explain any contact details and numbers, because she'll know them better than me.
Yes.
So,
guys, if you do want to get in touch, we've actually set up a dedicated travel Thomas Cook line. So if you are, if you have been affected by Thomas Cook, We do have a dedicated line, so when you ring us, we know that you're calling from Thomas Cook and what you kind of need in terms of support. So I'll put it up on screen there. The number's 0161 464 5040. If you're not kind of up to having a chat just yet, you're more than welcome. Pop us a quick email over as well. You know, I know that, I mean, I'm a talker. I love to have a bit of a chat, and I would much rather get you on the phone and just see how you're doing. But if you do want to pop us an email over, then we've got a dedicated email address as well, which is careers@travelcounsellors.com. One of us guys will pick it up, we'll get in touch, and, you know, whether it's just a quick chat that you need, whether it is, you know, a cup of tea and a hug, then we'll give you that too. Whatever it is that you need, we'll endeavour to support you as well as we can do.
Fantastic, thanks Hannah.
I think it's worth mentioning as well, Was, there as well, that if they felt that they knew a travel counsellor or they wanted to get in touch with a travel counsellor in their area, they can go onto our website and just put their postcode in and they could find a travel counsellor near them. And they're all opening their doors just for a chat and a coffee and to really show them everything about what it is about being a travel counsellor. Sometimes if it's too scary to sort of come in, again, so seeing that's been a real eye-opener as well. So the travel counsellor community has actually opened their arms out to actually say that they would do that as well. So that's another good option for everybody.
Yeah, that's a great option. Thank you, Janet. Yeah, so you can go to travelcounsellor.co.uk to find a travel counsellor maybe near you. You can also go to our careers website, which is people.travelcounsellors.com. That'll give you all the information on the courses that we run, all the content, and just tell you a little bit about what being a travel counsellor there. There's videos and case studies of people who are travel counsellors. Whatever your decision is, we would be really keen to speak to you, have a chat. But if your decision is to go elsewhere, we wish you all the best of luck in everything that's happening in your life. And hopefully for the travel industry, everything will all go in the right direction. So thank you very much. And hopefully we will see you soon. Thanks for watching.